Are you a home grower looking for a little bit of help? Are you ready to learn as much as you can about your favorite hobby? The Homegrown Helpers brings you informative interviews from experienced growers that have taken the next steps in their journey and decided to help you grow top quality cannabis all in your home. Now welcome in our host, Rob Smith, along with this week's Homegrown Helper. And welcome to the show, everyone. Are you ready for this week's grow tips and tricks from another Homegrown Helper? Yes, me too. We have a really awesome interview in store for you today. Ben joins us from Nova Scotia. That's Canada, if you didn't already know that. Ben started East Coast Growing Solutions after Canada legalized every citizen could grow 4 plants at home. Wouldn't that be great if we all had that legal right to grow 4 plants at home? Ben shares his history and some tips on maximizing what you get out of a limited plant count. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. First off, we do need to talk about GrowPass. Things are going so well for our members right now. We're getting ready for our second Ask Me Anything on August 4th. The first one went so well, we had, I think, 6 or 7 of our Bloom members in there on a nice Sunday afternoon. We are getting close to ending our founding member price, though. At this rate, it will be sometime within the next 3 weeks. So if you're on the fence, now is the time to join. You will be locked in at our founding member price for the entire time that you're a member of mygrowpass.com. So for either $9.95 or $19.95 a month, you can gain access to all of our member benefits, discounts, exclusive audios and interviews, and tickets into our 5K quarterly giveaway. Again, as a founding member, you get locked in at that price for the entire time that you're a member. Big shout out to our GrowPass partners for this show, Dealzer.com, the one-stop shop for all your hydroponic needs, and Greencraft Distribution, representing some of the finest brands across New England, as well as high-quality CBD products. More on both of those in just a little bit. Lastly, you guys and gals have been doing such an amazing job rating and reviewing the podcast. All of them help me in one way or another. So I really, truly appreciate all of your feedback. Hopefully, I'm becoming a bit more enthusiastic and comfortable on the mic. Now, let's get on with the show and welcome in this week's Homegrown Helper, Ben Baker from East Coast Growing Solutions. Ben, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
So Ben, we're going to start you off with an easy question. Why don't you tell us where you're from and how long you've been growing cannabis?
Alrighty. So I'm from Truro, Nova Scotia in Canada. I've been growing for just over 4 years now. I've grown indoors, outdoors, in greenhouses with all kind of different lights, all different kind of mediums, and quite a few different kind of nutrients.
Great. And what made you decide to get into the consulting side of things?
Well, I noticed that a lot of people wanted to get into growing and stuff like that, but didn't really know where to start. I had no idea where to start or where to get seeds or where to find the right information because internet's a great thing, but there is a lot of misinformation out there from people who don't know what they're talking about. So I just figured it would be a good idea to maybe help out some people in my town and spread the knowledge that I've learned over the past 4 years to other people that might be able to use it to their advantage like I have.
That's awesome. And do you find that you're helping more on the medical side of things or because Canada just legalized the recreational grow?
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit of both. Most of the people are medicinal. They use cannabis as a treatment first. But there are recreational people that I help out too. I don't judge.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
To each their own.
Well, I like to think that even if they're growing it recreationally, that there is some medicinal values to the plant, even if they're not.
Oh, yeah. Well, most people start off with recreational and they realize that there are medical aspects to it that they overlooked.
Totally.
Which I think is really cool.
So, Ben, why don't you tell us about your current grow setup? How many plants are you growing? What's the size of your room? Light type, that type of thing.
Okay, so right now in Canada, we're legal to grow cannabis up to 4 plants per household. So right now I have 4 flowering plants. They're in week 9, about to hit week 10. I've got one is Tropicana Cookies by Oni Seed Company. The other is Loompas headband crossed with memory loss, crossed with Tropicana cookies F2, which is also from Oni Seed Company. I got Wedding Cake F2 by Seed Junkie Genetics and Elmer's Glue by Relentless Genetics. I've got them all under a 630 watt ceramic metal halide. And yeah, that's just how I could do it. I used to grow with a 1,000 watt high pressure sodium, but made the switch to a double ended 630 watt compact metal halide. The ceramic metal halide, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. Do you grow in soil, hydro? What's that type of thing look like?
I grow in soilless mixes. I actually use ProMix, HP. It's got added mycorrhizum in it, so beneficial bacteria for the roots to keep everyone all happy.
And
then I just add nutrients. I add nutrients to it. I use there's a company out in BC. They're rather new. They're only a couple years old now. They're called Mantis. It's awesome. I love this stuff. I tell everybody that I teach to use it because it's just so much easier for new growers. It's one bottle. It's just one bottle. It's not like 7 different bottles you got to mix together and then add to your stuff for each different week. No, it's 5 milliliters per liter of water. Doesn't matter what stage of growth your plants are in, from clone to mother plant to budding plant. They all get 5 milliliters per liter. It's pH buffered, so I don't have to balance pH. And when the company tells me that, I like to put it to the test, and I have not tested my pH in 3 years with no problems whatsoever.
Wow.
I can't. Yeah. It's like it's magic in a bottle, man. When a company has really bold claims, I like to really put them to the test, see if they're bluffing, and they're not bluffing. This is the best nutrient line I've used in my 4 years. I started off with Canna nutrients, and then I upgraded to Remo, and then I went to Mantis, and I'm not looking back.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to look that up and link that in the show notes for anybody who's interested in tracking that down, because it sounds like a great product. Is that, you said that was made in Canada?
Yeah, it's made in Canada, right in BC.
Awesome. Got to stick with the locals, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Ben, getting into the growing tips here a little bit, what's the most impactful move a grower can make to improve overall plant health? Or what's the one thing that they must pay attention to when it comes to plant health?
Let's see, that definitely feeding schedules. Like you have to make sure that your plants are getting the right nutrients, or they're just not going to grow properly. Honestly, I think genetics make and break your end result. You can get the best genetics in the world, but if you grow them poorly, they're not going to turn out the best. They'll still turn out better than other genetics that weren't as powerful or as good. But I think genetics are kind of where you go for like your good yields and your good strains. And if you want a good product, you got to get good seeds from reputable breeders that know what they're doing.
So when you're looking for that plant to keep around in your garden, what are the things that you're looking for?
I press rosin. So I'm mostly in it for extracts. I don't really smoke bud at all. I mostly smoke rosin or oil and stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan of smoking raw plant. It's not as good for your body as vaping natural oils and stuff like that. So what I'm looking for in a plant when I'm growing it is trichome production. That's the number one thing in my book that makes an awesome strain, is covered in frost. Mind you, if the strain is covered in frost, it doesn't matter if the THC level isn't high enough. And I mean, it's still going to be some redgy smoke. But I look for frosty plants, fast growing and vigorous. Yeah, as long as they're fast growing, vigorous, and frosty strains, I'm happy with them. I'm much more happy with quality than quantity. I don't need to be cropping out pounds of average weed. I'd rather be getting a pound of premium quality cannabis. So that's what I look for in a plant, is quality over quantity.
Cool. Now let's talk about the feeding schedules a little bit. Obviously yours is, probably one of the easiest, short of just adding water.
Yep.
But how often do you feed? How often do you flush? Walk us through that.
Okay, so I feed Mantis every second day, like every 2 days I'll feed with Mantis. And I don't have to flush Mantis. It's like Yeah, I don't work for the company, so I don't know the big science behind it. But every time I've never flushed my plants when I use Mantis. It comes out white ash every time. They tell me not to flush it because those are very crucial periods. So flushing I haven't had to do in a while. But when I did use nutrients that you did have to flush out 2 weeks before, sometimes even just a week. Some people flush the plants out for like 2 weeks straight. I don't really agree with that. If you have that much nutrients stored into your plant material that you have to flush it out for 2 weeks, you are definitely overfeeding your plants. Just my opinion. That's just with my experience from what I've seen. When I was growing with Remo, I flushed for 2 days. I gave it 2 water feedings and completely soaked it so I could see like water pouring out the bottom of the pot. I did that twice, and when I harvested, I had no problems whatsoever. No harsh taste, no chemical, no popping or snap, crack, pop, or fireworks in my bowls or anything like that. So with flushing, I try to keep it to like I'll flush for a week, but in that week, I'll only be feeding 2 or 3 times in the week. And that roughly goes the same for normal feedings too, just without water. I feed about 2-3 times a week. Whenever the plants need it, they'll tell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your indicators that your plants need it?
Try to pick up a pot, see how heavy it is, and try to like remember how heavy that was. It's tricky at first, but like after you do it a few times, you get used to it. And then when you pick up the pot, you kind of know, okay, well, it's half as heavy as it was when I first watered it, so still got a little bit of moisture left. I mean, if your plant's wilting, you kind of waited a little too long. It's not going to kill your plant, might stress it out a little bit, but I look for the pot, or I'll take my index finger and put it in 2 knuckles deep. Not enough to disturb the roots or anything, but just enough to see if there's any moisture left in the soil. Because if there's moisture left at the top where my knuckle is, then there should be some moisture left at the roots. I've got a couple ways of testing it out.
I was just working with my father-in-law the other day, getting some plants ready for the outdoors, and told him that when he lifts a pot and it feels like he's going to throw the plant through the roof, that he waited just a day too long to water it.
Yep.
You know, when it's that light and there's no moisture content, because a plant typically uses the moisture at the top and the top will dry out. So when you pick up a plant pot, you can kind of feel that weight in the bottom of the pot. And it's kind of, a balancer out. You can feel where the weight is. So, I've always used the plant weight test for watering. So Ben, you have a new grower coming to you and they're like, man, I'm just not getting enough out of my plants. I really want to increase yield. What would be the advice that you would give them in order to get more out of their limited plant counts?
Okay, so a lot of people think if I shove a bunch of plants into an area, I'm going to get a huge harvest because the more plants, the more weed I'm going to get, right? I mean, that would make sense. That's not how it works.
Well, we're all limited by plant counts. You're allowed 4 flowering in Canada?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Okay.
Well, see, I mean, like some people don't care about the 4 plant per household law, and they just do it anyways, right? I'm trying to build a business, and I'm not trying to go to jail, so I'm going to keep to my 4 plants. But right now, I tell them, look at your microclimates. Like I've been mentored by 2 LPs with like years and years of experience. Past 4 years, I lucked out. They took me under their wing, showed basically doing what I do for people now, but they did that for me. So they told me a microclimate is extremely important for a plant. If you can give your plant a microclimate, like its own little macroclimate, so it's not all congested and shoved up against other plants and it has a room to breathe and grow, they'll really thank you for that. If you want bigger yields, the best thing is genetics. You got to get seeds that are going to yield good. It's strained by Strain Hunters. That's what it is. It's called Moneymaker. That strain can yield like fucking couple pounds outdoors, couple kilos outdoors. Like it's a huge plant. So that's going to yield just from the genetics alone. That's going to yield more. Better light setups. I mean, in theory, 1,000 watt light is going to produce more bud per watt than a 400 or a 600. So upgrading your light situation without overheating everything too, because heat really, really hurts your yields. That's one thing I've noticed. We had a really bad heat wave last year, and my greenhouse got rocked, and it really hurt my yields a lot. I could tell just as soon as makes them all grow all wispy and stringy and stuff like that. So I would suggest your genetics and better grow lights. Scrogging and low stress training really, really helps, because if you only got a small area to grow in, best thing you can do is low stress train your plants, tie them down, scrog them out. I just did my first scrog ever, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't do it like a year ago or 2 years ago, because it's very, very easy to do, and I'm noticing a huge boost in yields because everything's getting even light, nice, even flat canopy. So thing that I'd tell them would be look into the heavier yielding genetics and maybe tie down your plants and really scrog them out, and that'll definitely increase your yield.
Great stuff. So we're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors and let you know about their products. Dealzer.com is a hydroponic superstore with over 20,000 indoor gardening products available for you. If you're looking to grow your own, Dealzer is your one-stop shop for all your product needs, from LED grow lights, grow tents, nutrients, soil, CO2, and much, much more. Visit Dealzer Hydroponics at Dealzer.com. That's DEALZER.com, or visit their Paducah, Kentucky brick and mortar store. Use code podcast10 for 10% off your entire order at Dealzer.com, where they also offer free shipping on most products. Our members of MyGrowPass.com also get a discount code for 15% off everything at Dealzer.com. DEALZER.com. Next up, we have Greencraft Distribution. Greencraft Distribution is a New England-based company representing several hydroponic brands as well as premium CBD products. Check out greencraftdistribution.com to see the full line of products from brands like Cushley, Canatai, Cold War Organics, and more. This month, we are featuring Buddha's Tree Nutrients. Our members are receiving a sweet pack of their PK Booster and Solar Green Additive as part of our 5K quarterly giveaway. Use code GROWCAST at greencraftdistribution.com to save 10% off, or become a member at mygrowpass.com for access to a 25% discount code on all of their products. They've got a full line of hydroponic equipment as well, so check them out and save yourself 25% at mygrowpass.com. So Ben, do you have any unique grow tips or tricks that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, actually. So for me, trichome production is extremely important. I don't know for other people, but one thing that I have noticed is trichomes really start being produced when you're stressing a plant out. From what I can remember reading and what I've been told, it is a defense mechanism for the plants. It's not just to get a high. So I've seen people do some pretty crazy things to stress out their plants, things that I don't agree with. Some people rip off branches, some people rip off leaves, some people hammer nails to their stalks because it'll stress out a plant, make it grow a little more crisply and stuff like that. One thing that I've noticed, and I've told people to do this, and I've watched it work. So this is a tried, true thing. If you have a metal halide or a high pressure sodium, if you're using either, if you're growing with a high pressure sodium, if you swap your HPS bulb for a metal halide in the last week to 2 weeks of flower, your plants are going to go crazy with trichome production because it gets that full spectrum. When I switched from high pressure sodium to ceramic metal halide, first thing I noticed was doesn't produce as much heat. Second, the spectrum is completely different. I've been noticing full spectrum lights like LEDs, proper LEDs, not cheap like $300 LEDs, the $1,200 to $1,400 LEDs. They produce some quality medicine because they have the full spectrum. It's not just red. It's like the greens and the blues and everything together with it. So my big tip would be try swapping out your high pressure sodium for the last 2 weeks of flower for a metal halide if you want to increase the production of trichomes. It might hurt your yield a little bit, but if what you're looking for is quality, not quantity, then that's right up your alley. Another thing, people, I like growing purple weed. It's pretty. It's quite easy to do. People think it's extremely hard, but it's actually quite easy. Some people are really interested in that. So find find strains that have purple genetics. That's one way to do it. That's pretty easy. Easier way to do it, if you can drop your nighttime temperatures a little bit from when your lights shut off, the plants will just naturally turn purple. Most of them anyways. I had, White Widow outdoors in the greenhouse. I've only seen White Widow turn orange, like an orangey, like greenish, pretty color like that. And it was turning like violet purple because it was out in the cold during the fall. So people really get blown away by purple weed. It's very easy to do. Just tweak your temperatures at night a little bit. So those are my two big tips.
Great. Thank you. So Ben, in your opinion, what character traits make the most successful grower? What are you looking for when you're training a new grower and know that they're going to be successful growing top shelf cannabis?
Well, first off, I'm looking for a passion. If you don't have a passion for this, then you're going to half-ass it. You're just not going to produce quality stuff. Another thing that I look for is like-minded people. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for people that are kind of like me, that aren't trying to do this to brag that, oh, we grow the best weed. I'm looking for someone to leave their ego at the door. Someone that listens, and someone that can do their own thinking on their own. I don't mind answering questions and stuff, but if someone asks me the same question 7 times in a row, I've realized that you're not listening to what I'm telling you. You're just trying to find the answer that you want. And that's when I have to like stop it right there. Another great quality is to have an open mind. I cannot stress enough about having an open mind while growing. There is no best way to grow. There is better ways to grow for other people. It all depends on what you're trying to achieve and what kind of setup you have. When people think that they know it all, that they're the best growers in the world, no one else knows what they're talking about except them, then you're losing out on information. Everybody knows something that you don't. All right, you can learn something new from everybody. It doesn't matter if they're beginning or if they've been growing for 20 years. I've met people that have been growing for a year and they've taught me things that I had no idea, or pointed out things that I never noticed. If you think you know it all and you think you have all the answers, you're not going to go out searching for the answers because you know it all already. The first person that ever taught me told me that growing coconut coir with canna nutrients is the best way to grow. I've already proven to myself that I can grow a lot better without using those two things, and it'll turn out better than what he was growing. So if you think you know it all, leave that ego at the door. Swallow your pride and just listen to other people, because you can learn some really cool stuff. You're not going to learn anything if you walk around thinking you know everything because you're so smart. That's the biggest thing that I look for.
Yeah, and along those lines, we're really just scratching the surface. Like, this is the first time that real science and cannabis is getting out into the real world, and now we're able to really test the abilities and how this plant responds to a bunch of different scenarios instead of just being grown in people's basements.
Yeah.
So if you're not staying up to date on things that are happening in the growing world, then you really could be missing out on some amazing progress.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Ben, pretty much our last question here as far as the regular podcast episode goes. Remember, audience, we do have some bonus content that we asked Ben another 5 questions, and we post that up on our website, thehomegrownhelpers.com. So Ben, what's the last bit of advice you'd like to give to every grower listening to you right now?
Everybody got to start somewhere. If there's going to be a lot of trial and error, if you get the right people showing you what to do, then you might not have to deal with that. But it's a really fun hobby. It's an expensive hobby, and it is time consuming. Not everyone's going to agree with it, and people are going to look at you funny sometimes, especially the older generation. I don't know, like, be careful. Like, I'm in Canada, we're legal to grow, so I don't have to really worry about it. I mean, I was looking over my shoulder the past 3 years before today, but be careful. Like, it's not as widely loved as some of the people that cultivate it. Not everybody's going to like it. Growing outdoors is really fun. If you enjoy growing indoors, you'll really enjoy growing outdoors. There's just a lot more things you got to look out for and stuff like that. But you can't beat the sun. Sun's the best grow light you'll ever find, and it's free. So, yeah, I think that'd be my tips right there.
Great. That's all good stuff, Ben. So as we wrap up this part, how can our audience learn more from you, find and connect with you?
All right. So I'm on Instagram, WeedKid902. I'm on Facebook under Ben Baker. That's probably the best way to email or to get in touch with me. My email is bakerbk1994@gmail.com. That's basically the easiest way to get in contact with me. If you want to check out my Instagram, I don't have it hidden or anything like that. Anyone can come check it out, and they like what they see or they have any questions, feel free to message me. I'm a nice person. I don't bite.
Mm-hmm.
I try to help people as much as I can. I was taken under by mentors that told me when I can stand on my own 2 feet that I have to pay this stuff forward. That's exactly what I'm trying to do now.
Great. That is some good advice from your mentors there.
Yeah.
So your Instagram was WeedKid902, right?
Yep.
Great. So audience, if you liked what you heard today, don't forget we have lots of other growing content available. We are the second podcast in the Growcast family here, and you can get all of your cannabis growing questions answered pretty much between our 2 podcasts. We also have the bonus content available that we are about to record with Ben and post up at thehomegrownhelpers.com/bonus or bonus content. And last thing is, if you'd like to enlist Ben or any of our Homegrown Helpers service, email us at thehomegrownhelpers@gmail.com. So I'd like to thank Ben Baker of East Coast Growing Solutions for your time today, and we will catch you on the next episode.